Hey there, friend. I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right when it comes to your health, but still wake up stiff, sore, or bloated? You're eating what you think are healthy foods, maybe even taking supplements, but your joints still ache and your digestion feels off? Well, I've got something important to share with you today, something that might just change the way you think about your meals. Because here's the truth, not all foods labeled healthy are actually good for seniors. In fact, some of them can quietly sabotage your joints and gut health without you even realizing it. And the worst part? Many of us eat these foods thinking they're doing us good, when they might actually be the root cause of our discomfort. I remember talking to a woman named Helen who came to me frustrated. She was 72, ate lots of salads, drank green smoothies, and even added flaxseed to her oatmeal every morning. But she told me her knees were always stiff and her stomach felt bloated by lunchtime. She thought it was just getting older, but after digging into her diet, we found out the real culprit, and it wasn't what she expected. So today, I want to share with you 4 foods that many seniors eat thinking they're doing their body good, but that could actually be working against you, especially when it comes to joint pain and digestive issues. Now, before we dive in, let me be clear. I'm not here to shame your food choices. I'm here to give you the truth so you can make informed decisions that help you feel better, move easier, and enjoy life more fully. All right, let's get started with the first food on our list, something you might have in your pantry right now. It's whole wheat and other gluten-containing grains. Yes, whole grains are often touted as heart-healthy and fiber-rich, but for many seniors, gluten can be a silent trigger for inflammation, joint pain, and gut discomfort. You see, as we age, our digestive system becomes more sensitive. And for some people, even those who don't have full-blown celiac disease, gluten can cause subtle inflammation that shows up as stiffness, bloating, or even brain fog. I remember a man named Robert who swore by his whole wheat toast every morning. He told me he'd read it was good for his heart, but he also struggled with chronic knee pain and fatigue. When he cut out gluten for a few weeks, he was amazed. His energy came back, and the swelling in his joints noticeably improved. Now, I'm not saying everyone needs to go gluten-free, but if you've been dealing with unexplained joint pain or digestive issues, it might be worth trying a gluten-free version of your favorite grains for a few weeks to see how you feel. Think quinoa, gluten-free oats, or brown rice instead. And here's a tip. Don't assume whole grain means healthy for your body. If your body reacts negatively to gluten, it doesn't matter how much fiber or B vitamins it contains, it's not doing you any good. All right, moving on to the second food, and this one might surprise you. It's dairy. Yes, dairy products like milk, cheese, and even yogurt are often promoted as essential for strong bones and calcium intake. But for many seniors, dairy can be a major contributor to inflammation, joint pain, and digestive distress. I know what you might be thinking, but I've been told I need dairy for my bones. And while it's true that dairy contains calcium, the reality is that many of us become less tolerant of lactose and casein, the proteins found in milk as we age. And for some people, those proteins can trigger inflammation that leads to joint pain, excess mucus production, and even bloating or gas. I know one woman I spoke to told me she used to drink milk every day because she thought it was good for her bones, but she also had constant congestion and morning stiffness. After switching to unsweetened almond milk and getting her calcium from leafy greens and fortified foods, she said her sinuses cleared up and her joints felt lighter. So, what can you do? If you suspect dairy might be affecting you, try cutting it out for a few weeks and see how you feel. Replace cow's milk with a plant-based alternative like oat, almond, or coconut milk. Try fermented dairy-free yogurts made from coconut or almond milk. And get your calcium from non-dairy sources like broccoli, kale, chia seeds, and fortified tofu. Now, before we continue, let me remind you that this isn't about perfection. It's about listening to your body and making choices that support your health. not just what's labeled as healthy for the general population. In the next part, we'll dive into the third and fourth foods that might be working against you, and I'll show you what to eat instead. Because the goal isn't to deprive yourself, it's to fuel your body with what truly nourishes you. So stick with me, we've got more to cover. All right, friend, in the last part we talked about 2 foods that might be secretly contributing to your joint pain and digestive discomfort: gluten-containing grains and dairy. And I hope you're starting to see how even foods labeled healthy can sometimes work against us as we age. Now let's dive into the third food on our list, one that's often marketed as a plant-based protein hero, but might actually be causing more harm than good for seniors. It's soy-based products, especially processed ones like soy milk, soy protein isolate, and fake meat substitutes. Now I know what you might be thinking. Soy is often promoted as a heart-healthy alternative to meat and dairy, but here's the catch. Not all soy is created equal. Whole soy foods like edamame, miso, and tempeh can be fine for many people in moderation, but the problem comes with the processed versions, the ones loaded with additives, preservatives, and often genetically modified ingredients. These products are designed to mimic meat and dairy, but they can be tough on your gut and joints, especially as you get older. You see, soy contains compounds called lectins and phytoestrogens, which for some people can trigger inflammation and digestive distress. Lectins in particular are known to irritate the gut lining, leading to bloating and gas and even leaky gut syndrome in sensitive individuals. And when your gut is inflamed, that inflammation can spread to your joints, causing stiffness and pain. Let me tell you about a man named Henry I met at a wellness fair. He was 74. Had switched to soy milk years ago, thinking it was better for his cholesterol, but he'd been struggling with constant bloating and achy knees. After swapping his soy milk for unsweetened almond milk and cutting out soy-based meat substitutes, he noticed a big difference within just a few weeks. His stomach felt calmer, and his joints didn't ache quite as much in the mornings. So, what can you do if you love the taste of soy? Stick to minimally processed forms like edamame, miso, or fermented tempeh, and avoid the ultra-processed soy products that come in boxes and packages. Or better yet, explore other plant-based protein sources like lentils, chickpeas, or quinoa, foods that offer the same nutritional benefits without the gut-irritating compounds. And here's a tip. If you're using soy sauce or soy-based condiments, consider switching to coconut aminos or tamari, gluten-free soy sauce, which can be gentler on digestion while still giving you that savory flavor. Now, moving on to the fourth and final food on our list, and this one might surprise you, it's processed vegetable oils. Yes, oils like corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, and even canola oil are often labeled as heart-healthy because they're low in saturated fat. But the truth is, these oils are highly refined, chemically extracted, and loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, which can fuel inflammation in the body, especially when consumed in large amounts without balancing them with omega-3s. Now, inflammation isn't always bad. It's your body's natural response to injury or infection. But when it becomes chronic, like when you're eating foods that constantly trigger inflammation, it can wreak havoc on your joints and gut. One woman I spoke to told me she used to cook with corn oil every day, thinking it was healthier than olive oil. But over time, she developed constant joint pain and digestive issues. When she switched to olive oil and avocado oil, both of which are rich in anti-inflammatory fats, she said her inflammation levels dropped and she started feeling more like herself again. So, what should you use instead? Stick to anti-inflammatory fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and even small amounts of coconut oil. These oils are less processed, more stable at high heat, and actually support heart and joint health instead of harming them. And here's a bonus tip. When you're reading labels, avoid anything that says vegetable oil or partially hydrogenated oil. Those are red flags for pro-inflammatory fats that can contribute to long-term health issues. Now, before we wrap up in the next part, let me quickly recap what we've covered so far. We started with gluten-containing grains, explaining how they can trigger inflammation and joint pain in sensitive individuals, even if you don't have celiac disease. Then we looked at dairy and how lactose and casein can lead to bloating, congestion, and joint stiffness for many seniors. We discussed processed soy products, which may irritate the gut lining and contribute to systemic inflammation. And finally, we touched on processed vegetable oils, which flood your body with omega-6 fats that fuel inflammation instead of fighting it. Each of these foods may seem healthy at first glance, but for many seniors, they can be hidden sources of pain, stiffness, and digestive discomfort. In the final part, we'll wrap everything up by summarizing the key takeaways, offering simple swaps for each of these foods, and sharing how to start making changes that support your joints and gut health. Because the goal isn't to deprive yourself, it's to eat in a way that makes you feel better, not worse. So, stick with me. We're almost there. All right, friend. We've already gone over 4 foods that many seniors eat thinking they're doing their body good, but that could actually be working against them when it comes to joint pain and gut health. Let's quickly recap what we've covered so far. We started by looking at gluten-containing grains, especially whole wheat, and how they can trigger inflammation and digestive discomfort in many seniors, even if you don't have celiac disease. Then we talked about dairy and how lactose and casein can cause bloating, congestion, and joint stiffness, even though we've been told they're good for our bones. We discussed processed soy products, which may irritate the gut lining and contribute to chronic inflammation, especially in people who are sensitive. And finally, we looked at processed vegetable oils, like corn and sunflower oil, which are loaded with omega-6 fats that fuel inflammation instead of fighting it. Now, I know this might feel like a lot to take in, especially if you've been eating these foods for years thinking they were healthy. But here's the good news. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight to feel better. In fact, small changes can lead to big results. Just swapping out one of these foods and replacing it with something gentler on your body can make a noticeable difference in how you feel, especially in your joints and digestion. So let's talk about what you can do next. First, start by paying attention to how your body responds after eating certain foods. Do your joints feel stiffer after a meal with whole wheat toast and milk? Do you feel bloated after a soy-based smoothie or a salad with processed dressing made from corn oil? Your body gives you signals all the time. It's just a matter of learning how to listen. One woman I spoke to did a simple experiment. For 2 weeks, she cut out gluten, dairy, soy, and processed oils. She didn't go completely restrictive. She just replaced them with alternatives that were gentler on her system. After just a few days, she noticed her morning stiffness had eased. By the end of the 2 weeks, she said she felt like she'd taken 5 years off her body. That's not magic. That's just listening to what your body needs. Now, I'm not telling you to eliminate these foods forever. I'm simply encouraging you to notice how your body responds. If you feel better without them, great. If not, you can always bring them back in moderation. But for many seniors, removing even 1 or 2 of these foods can bring real relief. Less joint pain, fewer digestive issues, more energy, and an overall sense of lightness. So here are some easy swaps you can start making today. Replace gluten-containing grains like wheat bread and pasta with gluten-free options like quinoa, brown rice, or gluten-free oats. Swap dairy with non-dairy alternatives like unsweetened almond milk, oat yogurt, or coconut-based cheese. Choose fermented or minimally processed soy like miso or tempeh instead of soy protein powders or fake meat products. Replace processed vegetable oils with anti-inflammatory fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or even a small amount of coconut oil. These aren't drastic changes, they're simple, practical steps you can start taking to start supporting your body in a new way. And remember,
you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to eliminate everything at once. Just start with one small swap. Maybe switch your morning toast to a gluten-free version, or try a new non-dairy milk for your coffee. Give your body time to adjust, usually 2 to 3 weeks, and then check in with how you feel. You might be surprised by how much better your joints move and how much calmer your digestion becomes. Now, I want to leave you with one final thought. As we get older, it's easy to feel like our bodies are working against us, like we're at the mercy of pain, stiffness, and fatigue. But the truth is, your body is incredibly resilient. It wants to heal, to recover, to feel good. It just needs the right support. And a big part of that support starts with what you put on your plate. Because food isn't just fuel, it's medicine. And when you choose foods that nourish instead of inflame, you give your body the tools it needs to stay strong, mobile, and full of life. So if you found this helpful, and I hope you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got more videos coming your way filled with practical tips, easy swaps, and lifestyle strategies to help you live your best life after 60. And if you've already made changes to your diet and noticed improvements in how you feel, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and share your experience. Your story could inspire someone else to take that first step towards better health. Because the truth is, aging doesn't have to mean decline. With the right choices, it can mean strength, clarity, joy, energy, and the freedom to enjoy life on your own terms. Thank you so much for being here today. Take care of yourself, stay curious, and keep making choices that honor your body, your mind, and your happiness. Until next time, stay strong, stay healthy, and live your best life.